that many people never fucking showed up. And
No.
there was never a room dedicated to it. It was the
Correct.
cool English teacher's classroom. So
Yep.
there were no movie posters. And there were three people and they could never agree on what movie they were going to talk about. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, like even in I remember being in grade school and just voting on one movie to watch, like even if you're only given three choices, voting on one, it's near impossible. And then but also making sure like you get that amount of numbers, like that just doesn't. No, it's not. No, no way. No way. There's another unbelievable portion. This whole thing. Just kidding.
All right.
I suddenly hate this movie.
I was complaining to my husband about not complaining, but nitpicking them. Like, well, in the Chucky films and the Chucky series, like, you know, Chucky like stabs someone through a thing, and it like this one little stab wound that just through 3 inches of upholstery would kill them. It doesn't make any sense. And he's just like, oh yeah. That's why the movie's unrealistic and unbelievable. You're right. A dog coming to life murdering people that way does seem really far-fetched. Like, shut up.
I do also like knowing that at some point Hilary Duff was supposed to be in this movie.
Oh,
that makes me super happy.
Yeah, I think especially for this one where they were trying to come back, I think they were casting that net pretty far out to try and get whatever faces they could, just because it had been legitimately 11 years since the last one. And, you know, the last one, our consensus is kind of the general consensus. Like 1 out of 3 people like it or whatever you want to say. So like it ended kind of on a sour note. So coming back, it had to be like a big deal. And so I think putting all those names was their effort to do that. And so it's not surprising that there's a huge list of people who were considered for roles.
Well, I mean, also like to top on that as well, I mean, Christina Ricci did a screen test for Deputy Judy's role. Did a screen test for Deputy Judy's role, you know what I mean, and did that screen test with Aubrey Plaza, who was going to play Rebecca Walters. So it's really interesting to think of all the would have, could have, but I mean, the actress who plays Deputy Judy is just a blonde, taller version of Christina Ricci anyway, like very doe-eyed.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, when I read that, I was like, I mean, we still got her on screen. Like it didn't, like it wasn't like the effect was still there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like had they got someone who wouldn't have looked like either of them, probably a different effect. But because those two are so very similar appearance wise, you get the same effect.
Yeah, you really do. I absolutely love the concept of a movie marathon.
Oh my God. If only, you know what I mean? Like how fucking cool is this? Like we did have, like lock-ins and stuff in high school. We had one our freshman year, which was really fun, really, really fun. And then we had two our senior year. And I went to the first one my senior year because that was like the overnight, like decorate the school for Spirit Week. And like, it was the big St. Behoben game or whatever. But then the last lock-in, like the one before, like the week of us graduating, that last one, I was like, nah, I'm super good. Like, so, I mean, you know, as much as like, I love this concept, you know, it would have to be like 5 times smaller for me to be on board with it. Like I need like only 4 people, but I only like 4 people. So that's, that would go along with me doing a movie marathon, but to get even 4 people to sit for a movie marathon that has 8 adaptations, like, I mean, come on now. And you're expecting that many people to do it? No, thank you.
Yeah, especially if
beer is involved.
That's true.
She's not wrong. And they're kids.
But 8 movies at 2 hours each, that's a lot.
That's a heck ton. Yeah.
Because I went to
one of the After Dark film
festivals.
Oh, she's right. There's only 7.
Oh, my bad. Still
12 hours.
That's 14 hours. That's 14 hours.
And
like
I went to the 8 Films to Die For After Dark Film Festival in Cleveland.
God,
one
I
year.
want to go to one of those so bad. Those look amazing.
Yeah. It was, I think, 3 movies a day. It was a lot. It was a lot. Like you got a 15-minute break in between.
Coffee. But that's like my love language. Like when I went to go see, going to see Scream 5 was such an awesome experience because I got to go with my soon-to-be sister-in-law, who I just absolutely adore. And she was the one who actually like brought this whole thing back around for me. She was my sister-in-law, Jane, was the reason this all, like, I wanted to go back to Scream, and why I got, have so much diehard love for my favorite final girl, Nev Campbell, was because of Jane. So it was only right that since she brought it back around for me, we finished it out together. So quote unquote. And so, yeah, we go get coffee and go and sit in a matinee movie theater on like early Sunday. And I'm like, oh my God, this is my love language. People that I like, coffee that I like, movie that I like this is it. Maybe if you want to add 2 or 3 more people. I don't like anybody else. No, that's fine. Tiny little people. That's fine. Good that way.
I think my ultimate like party thing would be to like rent a movie theater with like,
that would be super cool.
I could probably get 15 people together that I like enough to want to share a movie theater.
Let's do it for your 40th. We can rent a theater and play a movie.
No, I'll be in Las Vegas.
And we'll do it when you get back. Let's do it for your, okay. Hey, Alina, you and I are going to plan Jay's birthday. Yeah, you turn 40 in a month. So, yeah, let's rent out a theater and let's rent out a theater and let's watch Texas Chainsaw.
I'm older than I look. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, there's a live screening up in Lorain in like 2 weeks. So yeah. 3 weeks.
Yeah, I would totally love to go to that because I love Texas Chainsaw too. Abby.
I love your Gunnar Hansen stories. Your continual running into Gunnar Hansen is really fun. And then I don't know if I ever actually said out loud, was that like listening to you guys and figuring out that you were from Akron, because I thought we were just like Instagram people that, it always says like suggested other people who use #horror fans or something, but it was when you were like, oh, I watched a movie at Plaza 8. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Akron has a Plaza 8. And then she mentions Columbus, and then you mentioned Highland Square. I'm like, okay, come on now. Like,
yeah, it's funny how big everything can be, but how small everything can be. Because even at that horror convention that I was just at in Cincinnati, the wrestler that we met apparently lives up in the Norwood area.
Oh.
Yeah, it's weird to think how small things can be while the world feels so large sometimes.
I mean, I ran into, I think 3 people I knew from up here.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it was a possibility, but yeah, it was just weird. I'm like, oh, I know him.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, hi.
What's really cool is when you start going to those and vendors start to recognize you in a good way. We're watching Scream 5.
Scream 4.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Hey, we're watching Scream 4.
So, have you seen the OC? Were you ever OC fans with Adam Brody here?
No, I know Adam Brody from Jennifer's Body.
Yeah.
So that's I really I never watched the OC. I knew of him because the phenomenon, like I was going through like preteen, like those stupid like preteen magazines, whatever, like I think the one that I subscribed to was just like a single letter, but I could not for the life of you tell you what. I think it was like M Magazine or something. And it's all the preteen stuff, and it had like Jesse McCartney and Adam Brody and whatever the other guy's name is from the OC, who's also in what Batman series is it on?
Gotham.
Yes, he stars in Gotham, and so yeah, I knew of them, but I had never actually watched them in anything until I sasaw Jennifer's Body, and I was like, oh, he sucks.
So the funny thing for me is that, Adam Brody has that same kind of like typecast in my head as one person, because I did absolutely watch the OC. Almost every person I'm friends with from college was because we watched the OC together. So when I see him in this, I kind of is a distraction. Like these two cops for me are a distraction from the movie that I would have preferred them to have smaller roles. I think I would have liked that version better.
Yeah.
And so we just see was it Anthony Anderson get stabbed in the forehead?
Yeah.
Every time I see this, I'm like, that is just absolute bullshit. There's no fucking way.
But it's true.
It's the truth.
Yeah. Wes watched a show on a guy getting stabbed in the head, and the dude drove himself to the hospital. So apparently your fine motor skills are still working for a very short amount of time. Like you're on a very tight schedule.
Yeah. Wes Craven, he didn't tell the studio that's how he's filming the death scene because he thought he would never get away with it. And so he was on record as saying, he's like, I will be surprised if I have a job tomorrow. But like you said, he had a documentary to back it up. And I honestly love it.
It's great.
It's funny that you talked, Lena, about how they were distracting to you. I honestly never watched the OC, never really experienced Adam Brody in like a larger kind of way to have any opinion of him. But he's just someone who I've liked in things that I've seen him in. So for me, having him and Anthony Anderson wasn't distracting. So I like Anthony Anderson too. Blackish is really, really funny and really, really smart. And he's really good in it. And even though I think they're also dudes who kind of tend to be themselves in things, I think that they have a charisma that is likable. And so I didn't mind them. And honestly, like their deaths, I think were really fun and inventive. And I like the giant death scene and then the fuck Bruce Willis tagline, like all of that I think was really fun.
So they added to like Scream usually has some levity in it because it's a fun slasher with comedy. And so for you, it fits. It's on brand.
Absolutely. Because then it takes you almost directly into a high intensity scene with Sydney. So it's great. And the killer is fully mocking her at this point. I think this might be the meanest of the killers.
Yeah. I mean, he's like, all of your family's dead.
Yeah, this is definitely the most vicious, I think.
Have you ever watched Battlestar Galactica?
No. What I know her from, yes, I know
Independence
Day? From. No, I know her from...
Oh, she muted it. Oh, he's getting yelled at. Seamus is in trouble.
Oh, so they ran out the back and the
closer. Sorry.
They ran out the back and they saw Ghostface in the reflection of the mirrored wind chimes. And so in a bit that was cut or how it was supposed to be interpreted or something was that the Ghostface hung up one of the Ghostface costumes on the edge of the porch as a decoy. So when they ran out to see the wind it would be reflected in the wind chimes and they'd be scared back inside without actually having to be on the back porch. So you know her from The Closer. I never watched The Closer.
Yes, I know her from The Closer. Kate, who plays Sydney's sister, or kind of, not Sydney's sister. I'm sorry, not Sydney's sister. Aunt. She plays aunt. Plays her aunt. Yeah, she played. She was actually very good, and she ended up getting her own spin-off series that didn't last as long. But yeah, I know her from The Closer. Her and Brenda Lee Johnson had some words, and I loved it. Oh my god, that was like my first introduction to cop shows. It wasn't Law and Order, it was The Closer, and that's where I really got into cop shows and true crime. Kira Sedgwick will always and forever be Brenda Lee Johnson to me. And also Kevin Bacon's wife, but for more so The Closer.
She'll always be Captain Wunsch from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That if you like.
Yes, sure. Yep.
The she-dragon.
The she-dragon. Yes. Their back and forth on Brooklyn Nine-Nine was amazing.
What do you think about Kate's death being stabbed in the back through the mail slot? Inventive or that's a stretchy?
I don't know if it's actually feasible because most mail slots, I don't think you could get it up enough especially with her leaning against the door.
And to be able to get that much force, it's not